Hey, what's going on, guys? You are turned on and tuned in to another episode of Disheveled Transmissions. It's good to be hanging out with you guys, talking about one of my favorite topics, rock and ass music. Today, I want to talk about an obscure cult rock band called Black Widow. They put out an album called Sacrifice, and that's the one I'm going to be talking about. It was like I guess their biggest album. I would say they're pretty obscure. They maybe are known in circle like record collecting circles and stuff like that, but to the general listener, to the general public, not so much. I mean, it's not like you're gonna be at a party like talking to your buds about uh, Black Widow 9 times out of 10. So yeah, that I'd say they're pretty underground, obscure kind of stuff. A little bit of history about those guys. They formed in Lancaster, England in 1969. They were called Pesky G. That was the first name of their band. They had a singer named Kay Garrett, and I think they were like an eight-piece band at that point. And they put out an album called Exclamation Mark, which was they were kind of just a hippie loose jam band. So then they met a man named Patrick Lehan Jr. who had like he was a producer and manager. He had a managing company. He was known for managing bands like Black Sabbath. I think he even helped produce. I think he even helped produce Volume 4. Uh, and he was also known for other bands like Gentle Giant, managing like bands like Redbone, a lot of those early '70s bands. But anyway, Pesky G, Kay Garrett left. They got Kip Trevor, recruited him on vocals. A man named Kip Trevor. Then met up with Patrick Leanne, and then changed their whole image to like from a hippie, jam to like an occult rock band, a satanic occult rock band. And they the result from that was what this album Sacrifice. I think they were eight-piece, like I said, and then they went down to a six-piece by the time they were Black Widow. They had a saxophonist who was named Clive Jones, who was really good. They had a drummer, Clive Box, who was really good, and you could hear that throughout the album. I bought this with like really great expectations. Just from the album cover, seeing itself, it was like a dark, like a traditional painting, like a dark cave, like these demonic like creatures in a cave. And I don't really know who done the artwork to that, but it was really like just really cool. And I thought, man, I'm in for a trip, when I hear this. And so yeah, the cover is just amazing. And Patrick Meehan, he was behind the production of this album, and he did pretty good. I'll get in more into that. He applied some of the binaural techniques where you hear one thing going on in this part, the ear, and then the other ear you hear something else totally different going on, and it's like a balance. It comes together in balance and the headphones. So he applied, that was big in the '60s and early '70s, and he applied that. And the instruments, his production, I got to give him credit. The instruments are really pronounced. Everything's really crisp and pronounced. Getting into the music though, I'll get more into the stuff later because the music is. I need to talk about that to get to more of the production like stuff. This is like a 7-track album, not a lot of songs on it. I think all in all maybe 30, 35 minutes. First track called "In Ancient Days." It's probably one of the better songs on the album. It starts out really trippy with like organ and bunch of like freaky freak out stuff, panning in and out of each ear. that was pretty good. And then, it's got a really good ambience to it. Clive Jones adds just a real good ambience, and the drums in it are pretty tight. It's one of it's a decent song, but the whole thing about this whole album, I'll go ahead and throw this out there. Like Kip Trevor, I'm not a fan. He's not a singer for occult rock. He's really not. I mean, he sounds too nice. He sounds like Tom Jones or somebody trying to sing about Satan. So that doesn't work. That didn't work for me in this song, and it doesn't really work for me on the whole album for that matter. Uh, the next song, again, the ambience is okay. It's kind of jazzy. You got the saxophone, you got the keyboards going, and all that stuff, and uh, it's not one of the better songs. It's kind of just there. It's a filler. And the third track, uh, it is called. I think the third track was their single, "Come to the Sabbath." That's kind of like, I don't know. I found that kind of comical because they try to be all, and I mean, I guess it works. It has chants in it and stuff, and I think it was that song where they had in the day when they played live, they had a girl on stage and they did the fake sacrifice and blood and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, the song itself is kind of comical at first, and then after a few listens to it, it becomes just really annoying to me. I don't know. I don't see why that was the single. I guess because it was the most repetitive and catchy of all 7 tracks on this album. Uh, After that one, Conjuration. Okay, it's one of the most, it's fluff too. Really, I didn't really care for it. Seduction, track 5. It's kind of like a love song to some demon or devil. It's really weird, strange song. I respect the music. Then again, there again, there's the lyrics. I get the lyrics probably work here more than more so than they do on anything else because it's kind of a slow number, and his voice kind of blends with the music better than what it does on the other stuff. Number 6 track, Attack of the Demon, is probably the best song on the album. It's free flowing, it's groovy, and the vocals work with that too. It's probably the best song on the album if you have the patience to make it that far. And track 7, which is called Sacrifice. The song is called Sacrifice from the album Sacrifice. But yeah, if you those are probably 2 of the better songs on the album. If you have the patience to get that far through it. Sacrifice does kind of go on a bit too long, and I don't think that's because of the musicians. There's some talented musicians. Clive Jones, Clive Box, all those guys are very talented. You got those poppy drums in it in spots. The saxophone's beautiful. Just it's real jazzy, like I said, and good atmosphere. And but the thing is like I think in the production, I want to go. This is what I was wanting to go back to. It doesn't. It feels a little too reined in. It seems to me like it needs to be more free and free to explore and the production doesn't do that. It kind of just, okay, we got to come back in, make it tighter. I listened to the Pesky G album when they were Pesky G, and it's just like, the jams were, much looser, much funner, much, free. And then Kate Garrett's vocals had soul, and that they were lost on that when Kip Trevor came on board. I think if Kate Garrett had I think if she had stayed in the band and they'd have become Black Widow, they would have probably pulled it off a lot better. But this one with the vocalist, just it doesn't work. It's not believable. A lot of the stuff sounds like, you know, maybe they were inspired by Jethro Tull, and I think they might have been, because I know they did Dharma for One on the Pesky G exclamation mark album, and which is mostly a covers album, maybe one or two originals, but it's mostly a cover. And they do Season of the Witch Donovan cover, which is really sweet. Kay Garrett wears that out. I really liked her voice in that. But anyway, coming back to this, I just, you know, I'm happy with the production of it, but it just seems like it's too tight for their style, too, you know, reeled in for what they need. And you know, the guys, the singer and vocalist is really unbelievable. That's a big part of the music. The front man, the vocalist, you know, being believable. But you know, some of their live videos, they have the whole costume thing, and they, you know, like I said, the mock sacrifice, and so you know they try, but it's just his sound is, like I say, he sounds like Tom Jones or some, like, you know, like contemporary adult singer trying to sing about and that's not what I think about, you know, when I think about occult rock. I think about rocking out and, you know, just rebellion, you know, that's what I think about. So anyway, this album, the cover was awesome. I do want to say that, you know, I listened to this album repeatedly, because a lot of the albums that I really love, I start out hating, and then they grow on me. And I wanted to like this album, I really did. You know, I mean, I don't like, you know, trashing albums. I like to find the good stuff in music. But this, I had to call out the stuff that really just bothered me about it, which, you know, was mostly vocals and production. And so yeah, with that, I mean, the cover was awesome. I loved it. Production, you know, it had its good and bad, you know, and the music was great. The vocals, not so much. I think I think Kip Trevor ruined them, man. You know, this album, I'd have to, rating wise, I'd probably give it around a two and a half, around to 2.5. And this was like their big deal. You know, after this, they kind of just, they didn't really do much. They kind of just faded off, became like a vapid prog rock band, and then just faded into oblivion totally, which is kind of sad. But you know, yeah, I'd give it a 2.5. I mean, if you're into occult rock and, you know, you're like a completionist, you know, yeah, you know, probably you should pick it up. But I mean, just generally, I mean, it's not. I don't find it to be that great of an album, and there's so many other like bands I'd rather listen to. You know, I could name a few: Sabbath, Witchfinder General, all those, you know, and it goes on and on. But yeah, that's about all I got to say for that. Hope you guys, what do you guys think, man? Have you guys heard this album? Have you heard of Black Widow? Have you do you like them? If you did, do you like Pesky G stuff better, the Black Widow? If you've heard either one of those, let me know what y'all think. If you have, I mean, I'm open to discussion about it, because, you know, I love talking about this stuff. I really do. And stay tuned, because we got more stuff coming for you on Disheveled by John channel. And I guess that's about it for me. So I'm out. Until next time, keep on rocking and let the good times roll.